is currently casting his vote in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. Just remember, this is an historic election. And Desiree, yesterday I was watching the press briefing by the former president, Robert Mugabe, and he seemingly endorsed Mr. Nelson Chamisa. He said that he will not vote for those who tormented him. And I guess Mr. Mugabe is seemingly still smarting by the fact that he was forced to resign. He also defended the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission, calling Zimbabweans to accept the outcome of the polls. Nelson Chamisa, in the press briefings that they've been giving so far since last week, is confident that they are going to take this election. He's confident that he's going to become president, and he seemingly says, who is he to not accept a so-called endorsement by the former president, Robert Mugabe.
It'll also be interesting to watch that court action by ZANU-PF that they're threatening to take Nelson Chamisa to court for holding a press briefing within the not within the allotted time. 2 days before going to the polls, political parties are supposed to refrain from going out in public and speaking to their potential voters, but also reports coming out today that Nelson Chamisa is actually involved in business dealings with the Mugabe family. So not much of a surprise in terms of that endorsement by former President Robert Mugabe. We'll continue to follow those stories. But as you can see in the footage that's live from Bulawayo right now, Nelson Chamisa, the president of MDC, making his mark. And as Tepiso Makwetla asked one of the leaders earlier today, who are you going to vote for? It's always an interesting one, who a leader who's on the ballot paper chooses to vote for. As journalists and as photojournalists, we always want that shot of him casting the ballot. As you can see, the media scrum trying to get the best possible angle. Our cameras are there. You can see we've got a good vantage point in terms of a so-called helicopter view. Yeah, it gives you a sense of the interest that both media and the public have in this story. I think there's a journalist trying to come through. Let's try listening. Do we have Griselda? The picture's just frozen.
A large media contingent here pushing to try and get visuals of him as he casts that vote.
Please, can you go behind the boxes? Please. Let's be all understanding here. Journalists, please.
Guys.
Let's go. I cannot go back. He's going to cut the vote. I can't go back. I'm trying. Let's go back. Let's go back. Please, você puxa uma tables. Não there are boxes.
Hello? Well, these are live pictures as you're watching the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance leader Nelson Chamisa casting his ballot here in Harare. A large media contingent, a scrum to get that one picture. He has just about done with that at the moment. We'll see if we as the media are just able to get an interview with him. Quite a media scrum as we're trying quite hard. We do apologize for the visuals at this stage as we head outside to go and try and get an interview. Mr. Chamisa.
Go out, guys. He's coming outside.
Mr. Chamisa must be, yes, we'll do the interview outside as per the electoral laws. Media just scrumming out at this time.
Let's go out, guys.
Just stay with us on these visuals. Mr. Nelson Chamisa exits the polling station after casting his vote. In a few moments, stay with us live. We will chat to the MDC Alliance leader. Mpomi? Mpomi? Yo. Give us a second. Well, quite a media scrum here. Sorry. Quite a media scrum.
Takakunamatira ine zuro.
Well, quite a media scrum here as Mr. Chamisa exits with some of the voters here shouting Chamisa, Chamisa. Stay live with us on these visuals. Well, where he has voted today is at the Kuwadzana 2 primary school, and now hundreds of people moving around to where he is. All right. All right, let's stop here. Let's stop Mr. Chamisa, obviously today you've just cast your ballot. How does it feel to have exercised your right to vote? Mr. Chamisa, how does it feel to have exercised your right to vote this morning?
Please tell all our supporters to give us a way. Yes.
We have the shop.
So there my shooting. I need some space, please. Okay. Thank you.
Guys, don't push. Don't push. All right, let us begin.
You must manage president.
Yeah. No, he's going to listen.
Chamisa, how does it feel to have exercised your right to vote this morning?
Guys, hold on, guys. Can you be quiet, please? Okay.
Well, we're just waiting for Mr. Nelson Chamisa to address the media in the next few moments. He will speak now. Mr. Chamisa, how does it feel to have cast your ballot here this morning?
Well, it's a great moment for Zimbabwe, hoping that in the rural areas, the ballot that has been used is an appropriate one. But we have no doubt that if the ballot is an appropriate one, a genuine one, and not a bastardized or a fake one, victory is certain for the people. The people have spoken, the people are speaking, and it's clear that the vote is a vote for victory, a vote for freedom, a vote for democracy, a vote for a new Zimbabwe, a vote for the genuine new, a vote for a new direction. And I have no doubt that by end of day today, we should be very clear as to an emphatic voice for change, an emphatic voice for the new, an emphatic voice for the young. And I represent that young, I represent that new.
Mr. Chamisa, there have been overnight developments where the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has confirmed to us as the media that they have reported you to the police for allegedly flouting the Electoral Act. Let's get your response to that.
They don't know the law. They will be taught the law. They are very, 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 very wrong on the law. So I'm not interested. I mean, they are just perpetuating their bias. They are doing this bidding on behalf of Mnangagwa, who is panicking, who is scared of victory of the MDC alliance, and who is scared of the victory of Mr. Chamisa. It's very clear that Mr. Mnangagwa, from my reading, he has been issuing statements. In fact, last night he issued a statement, and I don't know why they have not reported Mr. Mnangagwa, who has in fact been campaigning via Twitter, via his own video. So I'm not going to waste my time with ZEC. They are just continuing their tomfoolery. It is their own mischief. I have no time for that.
Mr. Chamisa, if you do not win this election, what will be the consequences? Do you think there will be violence and trouble?
Well, I wouldn't know about that, but my part is to play a positive role in making sure that there's peace in this country. Zimbabweans need peace, Zimbabweans need to build their nation, and I know that we are winning this election. There is no way.
With this election, winning this election?
I've said that we have won this election. I'm only here to confirm that we are ready to lead, we are ready to govern, we are ready for a new Zimbabwe. It's a done deal.
The picketing of people in 12, is that in itself not insightful? Or not inside?
Which picketing now?
Your chief legal advisor, Advocate Avanumpofu, advised people to form up in groups of 12 at all polling stations.
Our legal advisors are very legal and very lawful. So whatever they've advised is correct.
Mr. Chamisa, are you still confident about...
Mr. Chamisa, what is the sense of the election since this morning?
I'm not interested in that. Let us focus on other things. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was the MDC Alliance leader, Nelson Chamisa, speaking to the media.
That the ballot in the rural areas is not a distorted one. But we have no doubt that we have won this election. Victory is certain. There is no way Mnangagwa is going to win this election. It's a done deal. Indeed. ZEC is actually perpetuating their tomfoolery and their shenanigans. I can see that they are saying they've reported. How do you report a candidate for doing things that are lawful? They do not know the law, and if they don't know the law, they must come and ask from us who are lawyers. Thank you very much.
All right, MDC Alliance.
Mnangagwa is mistaken on these issues. Mugabe said he's voting freely and he's not voting for Mnangagwa. As to who he's voting for, he's still deciding because the vote is secret. But if he does decide to vote for me, it's not my duty to discriminate against voters. I accept any vote, including votes from trees if they are not the registered voters.
MDC Alliance leader.
There you go. Crescendo Lewis and the SABC team in the thick of things there, and did very well in order to get that first question in, and also prompting Mr. Chamisa with regards to the allegation that he flouted the law, and he simply says they don't know the law. They're perpetuating. He's talking about the ZEC. It's perpetuating their bias, according to him, and saying that it's the tomfoolery of all things, you know.
Absolutely. The leader of the MDC Alliance, Nelson Chamisa, just cast his vote in Bulawayo, and he was saying there in his home language, in Ndebele, that his supporters must follow the law. But let's go back to Crescendo now. Crescendo, what have you got for us?
Interested in, and what he knows is that come counting, and in fact, he's confident at this stage that he has won this election. You'd recall, of course, there also been some reports about the involvement business-wise between Mr. Nelson Chamisa and Mr. Mugabe, Robert Mugabe, the former president of Zimbabwe. Well, he says again on that issue that it seems that the president of the country, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has that wrong. He has no problem with the fact that Mugabe has endorsed him as the preferred leader to take over the helms of this country, and he is not going to comment any further on that. Very confident he seems of this election here in Zimbabwe, as it has been since the beginning. But I think what is very eager and close to watch at this stage is what will happen once those results start trickling in. As we know it, as it stands, Mr. Nelson Chamisa, the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance, will not be accepting any defeat, any any of the results that seem to indicate that the person who has won this election would be Emmerson Mnangagwa. The MDC alliance is not going to accept that. Will there be a court challenge? We will see. Will they run to the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission? That certainly all remains to be seen. But for now, thousands, millions around the country at the more than 10,900 polling stations here in Harare, people have come out in their numbers to cast their ballots very quickly. While I'm here, sir, have you cast your ballot yet?
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel victory. I'm very happy.
You feel victory?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Let me speak to some women. Come on, young people as well. No, not you. Sir, how do you feel this morning? Have you cast your ballot yet?
Not yet, but victory is certain. We are going to win.
All right, fantastic. Well, I suggest you get back into that line. That's all we'll have from you here at Kuwadzana 2, just after the MDC Alliance leader, Nelson Chamisa, just cast his ballot here.
Griselda, the pandemonium that broke out as Nelson Chamisa came in. Tell us, was it a positive sentiment? What happened really? Griselda, can you hear Johannesburg?
Okay, it seems that we've lost the link
we'll continue
with
to have that
Griselda.
conversation later.
We've got an army of reporters stationed in
and she
Zimbabwe.
was talking about results. We're a long way from that. We're still concerned about what is taking place right now.
Mr. Nelson Chamisa is around, 40 years of age. He's competing on
the two
front runners.
You heard him, he said he represents the youth. Constituency.
Griselda was trying to look for a few women. I understand there's about 4